Here, we discuss life adventures, challenges, and the power of personal branding. I'm your host, Julia Juliati. Welcome. My guest today is Jacqueline Vazquez.
Hi.
Hi. I can't even say how many things you are because you wrote books.
2 wedding and event books. One, there's the same, but English and Spanish.
Wow.
It was translated on purpose. And then 2 other books that are bestsellers.
Incredible.
I'm a wedding planner, event planner. I'm an author, speaker, mentor, advocate for women, and podcast host as well.
Wow. It's overwhelming. Hour is not enough for this. Okay, so let's start with the beginning. Let's start with the wedding planner. Why you decided to be a wedding planner?
Wow. Sometimes that question really amazes me sometimes, because it's like, I came from a career of accounting. That was completely different, and it's like night and day. But one thing that I got from that was understanding what I like about details, because accounting is very, very precise and on point. You have to get that zero balance to make sure everything's on point. And that's the way I saw weddings, that the details, that's what attracted me to it. Started a little bit with events, and then somebody that I knew was like, "Can you do my son's wedding?" I was like, "Sure." And I fell in love with it. I really did. And that first year, no, actually the second year, somebody also hired me through someone I knew. And from that one, I got 3 other weddings in the same year. And I'm like, okay, this is amazing now. This is like creating a little like excitement that I'm like, I can't contain it. I got to explore that.
Why did you like it so much?
It was just how it made me feel. And it was nothing that I felt before with accounting. I mean, I went to school for 4 years to study it, and I don't regret it. But I knew that accounting was not my passion. And when I connected with weddings, that became my passion.
And that's interesting. Can I ask you how old were you when you switched the profession?
So when I first ventured into it, it was maybe about 30 years old, 29, 30 years old. And when I fully went into it, probably about 39, 38, 39.
So that's my point.
Yeah.
Many women are afraid of switching. I had education, I was educated for this profession, and I know this much, and I have this experience, and everybody knows me as this person. It's too late to change.
Never too late. And you know what? All those fears, you know where they come from? They come from the outside of you. And yes, there are some things that you have to take into perspective, like family, your immediate family, not your outside family, because that could be too much going on. But your immediate family, you know, what will the switch do with that, with the changes? It doesn't mean that you can't switch. It just means you have to understand how different that's going to look. If you have a corporate job and or education as a teacher or a doctor or a lawyer, because many wedding planners that I know are all of those, were all of those. You just have to understand the change in the dynamic in becoming an entrepreneur, because it's a completely different mindset. And when you understand that, then explore it. If you don't want to jump and explore it from the beginning and leave your job, and that's not what I recommend you do, get a little taste for it, study it, understand it, and make sure that it is what you're feeling is correct. It's like, yeah, it's intensifying. It's like, now I have to make sure I research it. Now I have to make sure the next step, well, start a LLC, or, you know, just create your business. Go and do it. There's no shame and there should be no fear in you just being curious about it.
What would you say the main differences between being an entrepreneur and 9 to 5 job?
It's not a 9 to 5. simply said, is not a 9 to 5. Sometimes people who want to become an entrepreneur, they're like, oh, I want to be my own boss. Yeah, everything comes with a
And
price
responsibility comes with that too.
and responsibilities, because what you're not seeing, what your boss is doing, that's the part you're not seeing, the behind the scenes to that. And becoming a boss is more than 9 to 5. And that's the easiest thing I can share with you to start off with. And, you know, just knowing that there's more responsibilities and it's more than 9 to 5. For me, my job in the beginning, that switch was 24/7. I became doing 2 full-time jobs at one time. And then I knew that couldn't last. I had to make a decision.
How many weddings have you done so far?
So close to 1,000. And, there's been small weddings, large, ultra $1 million weddings. So I've had a variety, elopements, all that stuff. But I can say I've done 10,000. The thing is, you have to understand, when you go into business, there's so many things you want to do, but you have 24 hours in a day.
Right.
And you can't overburden yourself with doing too many things. Then do you have a team? So you have to really put into a lot of perspective. So
So you said less expensive weddings, more expensive weddings. What's the difference for you as a wedding planner?
that is you hit the question on point right now, because a lot of people are struggling with that. One of my things that I don't like to hear is, oh, because you're in New York, this is how much a wedding should cost. No, because everyone has a different perspective of weddings, personally, for the couple, right? So maybe they don't want to spend $100,000 wedding. To them, a very simple or just elegant wedding is just them to a few of their family and friends and a piece of cake or anything like that. So that's not going to cost $100,000. So just because, that can be possible. Now, the next question to that is, do I do those, right?
Right.
I have to pick and choose. So in the beginning, I did a lot of different budget weddings, from low to high. And then after a few years, I was able to identify what my business was about. And then I was within the range that I wanted to be.
So what are your preferences
My
when you choose
preference
a wedding?
could be small or big, but it has to be no less than $50,000.
Why this reason? Because I use the same strategy kind of in my business, and I have my reasons for that. So what are your reasons for choosing that?
I know the value that I'm giving, the quality that I'm giving, the time that I'm investing. You're not just getting a vendor. You're getting someone who is your right hand, someone who is really understanding the essence of your wedding. I just don't want to know, oh, what kind of photographer you want, or this or that. No, I want to know why. And so that is something that I put value in. Your investment in time, your investment in caring for your client. And I could do a $10,000 wedding, but it depends on, it's not going to be for 300 people because that's unrealistic. So there's a lot of different variables that take upon. Starting at the 50,000 really puts into perspective what I'm going to make, and that's my value.
So I'm assuming it's a higher quality of vendors that you suggest to
Higher
me.
quality, or not just higher quality, professional vendors.
Well, that's exactly what I meant.
Because and I wanted to say it in layman's term, because sometimes people underestimate the value of a professional person that they're hiring. That it's not, oh, my sister knows someone or my sister does it. But is your sister going to be part of the wedding? Is your sister going to be connected with the wedding as somehow? Is she going to want to be a photographer for your wedding? Yeah, it might be special, it might be great, but that's a family member.
It should take full responsibility for the photographs that she's promised to do.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. My partner calls it the Godfather deal. That's his epic thing. He shared that with my students Do you want the Godfather deal, which comes with no risk, like 100% risk and 0% attention to detail because they know you? Or maybe they forgot what time your wedding starts because, oh, it's just so-and-so's wedding. Versus having a professional with a contract, with a true reputation and all of everything that comes with it. And it's not to say that your cousin or your sister is not good. There's just, you don't want unexpected things that you can control.
Exactly, that's my point. If I put myself in the bride shoes, so I understand with the quality, with the more expensive, more responsibility of the vendors you can
Yes.
expect.
Yes.
So they're more professional. So you have to worry less at your
Yes.
wedding. And that's the point.
You contracted them to arrive and they're going to arrive versus you're not sure if your Godfather deal person is going to arrive or not because they didn't give you a contract.
Me as a new bride, never been married before, never had any weddings, have no idea how it's the whole process working. Could you explain me what would I do first and how much in advance I should plan and think about it?
I've planned a wedding in 3 months.
Wow.
I don't recommend it because it's very highly stressful. So it all depends on the couple, what they want. But what I recommend is at least a year to a year and a half of planning because that puts a lot of things in perspective, especially if you have time. A year is the preferred, right? And the first thing to think about is what do you and your partner, what do they want? What do you want? What is the essence of what will your wedding represent? It's not just, oh, let me just go open up a bridal magazine. Let me look online on Pinterest. Let me look on the Knot. Let me look on here or that. It's about who are you? Why are you getting married? Asking yourself those questions will put you in a better perspective in selecting your dress, in selecting the location, in selecting, you really need to have, if you're choosing a venue, a good connection with that venue. It's not because, oh, it was on Oprah or on this show or on this magazine. I want it because of that. Are you truly connected with that? So for me, the first thing all the time is put into perspective who you are, what you truly want your wedding to represent, and then start with your search. Of course, the very first thing is having that date that you want, and that is whether you're going to have a church wedding. So, of course, the church, sometimes you have to book that first, and then the venue, find the right venue for that date. Or if everything's going to be in one place, then securing the venue and then everything else follows.
Usually bride chooses the location or you as a wedding planner suggest?
So there's a few varieties. There's some couples that come to me for like with everything. They're like, this is what I want. Let's go see these places. I'm like, sure, fine. Some will come with no idea of where to start. My services meet the couple where they're at as to what they want, right? And with that said, I can make recommendations, but I don't make a direct assumption that this is the one that you need to choose. And there's a reason for that. My suggestions and recommendations are based on first the relationships that I've built with other professionals in the industry, based on past experience on working with them, understanding who I'm recommending to you. I don't go onto the website and say, oh, these are the people you should go to. No, I need to understand who I'm recommending. So I recommend and I say, these are your suggested ones based on what you shared with me. Because I can share a whole list of 300 or more people, but I first have a conversation with you and I say, what do you want? Tell me your story. And from there, I know who to connect them with. If that first list is not what they're looking for, and I tell them it's okay, you could say no, then I keep searching, but I still have a conversation with that vendor because I still want to make sure who I'm recommending to my clients
Right.
if I don't know them.
Your ideal wedding client.
Uh-huh.
Describe me. Who is she? I assume that conversations are with her most of the time, not with
Actually,
him.
with a couple. So I'm glad that you asked that because for me, I work with my partner, and my partner is actually my husband as well. And he came on to the business about oh my gosh, it's going on 18 years now. And he saw the magic. He's like, this is for you. I could see that this is your career, right? For the most part, I'm speaking to the couple beforehand and making that connection because I want it not just to be about one. I want it to be about both.
How involved are the guys?
If it's a bride and groom, the guys do have a say sometimes. I've had a lot of my grooms that they select linens, they select flowers, and I'm like, because I'm welcoming them to do it. And when you open up that space, some of them don't say anything, and then later on they're like, oh yeah, I do like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's just opening up the platform for them. If I don't address them, then they'll shut down. But it's their wedding as well. So I say to them, as much as you want to share, whatever you want to share, whenever you're ready.
Okay.
But I'm speaking to both of them, and they feel that welcoming piece, and
All
they
right.
share.
Ideal wedding client, couple.
Woohoo! The
And the
ones,
ideal process of planning, describe me that too. And then ideal wedding.
okay. Ideal client would be, and I've had a lot of them, those who just trust me, trust the process that you're hiring me to do a service that you're not looking to do alone. So trust the process and trusting me in that. And I've become a trusted brand because of that. I feel like I'm a diva in logistics, and the ideal process is just lots of communication, lots and lots. I share that with my clients before they hire me. I communicate, sometimes over communicate. It doesn't mean that I'm communicating 24 hours a day, but if you send me an email and I don't know the question, or I'm busy, or I'm limited time, when I do get to you, which is either within 24 hours or the next day, I don't know that one, but I'll get back to you. But at least that communication makes them feel comfortable that she's looking into it, right? But I like the same thing. If I send something, I need that response because it's a mutual working process. So communication, once that process is set and we're doing it both together, that makes everything else go wonderful. Ideal wedding is trusting me, just letting go, enjoying yourself, and trusting me.
Surrender.
Surrender. You're
Why it's
hiring me for,
important? Because I am also listening to you. I
yeah,
am transforming all what you say to my business. I'm like, I'm exactly the same.
yeah. Because,
Why it's important?
if they're investing their money in someone, it's for a reason. So why not trust that reason? You're investing in it already, right? So when you invest, you should release. It doesn't mean that they're going to take over. That's one thing I do not do. I don't take over their wedding. It's not my wedding. I enhance their wedding with the storyline that they want. And I'm there to make sure that they're safe and that they're enjoying it. And, for me, that connection with them trusting that they made an investment, they're good for it. And, that's going to make the wedding amazing. There's so many noise outside of that communication that can cause a lot of havoc. It's okay if your parents share something, or if your sister shows you something, or if I just got actually one bride, she's like, someone doesn't like the color. It's your wedding. It's your wedding, not their wedding. It's your wedding. Let it go. If you're investing in me, we're working on this together.
So it's important for them to trust and to just give up the struggle. I can
Yeah,
find a better
yeah,
word,
yeah,
because when you do that, your wedding will be much more smoother and happier and
yes,
relaxed.
yeah. Turn out the outside noise.
And
Social
one, it's important
media
for you when they
for
trust you this much.
because it allows me to stay focused, and let me tell you, when staying focused for me doesn't mean that if a wrench is thrown to me that I can't handle it, because I can handle anything at any time, while before the wedding and while in the wedding. But I prepare beforehand so much because I want to make sure I understand their story, the ins and outs. So let's just say, for instance, if something changes with the cake, it arrives differently than what the couple originally selected. They're trusting me to handle that. What I
How would you
mean.
handle that?
You're like, how would
My
you
next
handle?
question.
Well, the most important thing is having someone there. So sometimes a planner is not hired because the venue says, oh, yes, we have people here and we'll take care of it. You don't need the extra expense for a planner. But they're concerned with the four walls
Right.
and the food and the service they're providing. And so for me, having someone, it's never happened, but someone being there when it's delivered, or being there early enough to hopefully catch something or someone, or maybe they closed and they left and they just left it. Okay, what are options? Does the venue have an in-house pastry staff member on site? Is there a supermarket nearby? Is there a floral shop nearby? So all of that, having someone there on site early is just a good way to handle any unforeseen circumstances.
The main idea first, you are as a professional with lots of years of experience, you're helping them with every step to make a right choices for their wedding. And the most important, during the wedding, you are the connecting person who
Yes.
takes responsibility for the smoothness of the wedding,
Yes.
so the bride can and groom can actually enjoy their day.
I mean, why are you spending all the money to have a great, amazing day and experience and memory and be stressed out about it?
Exactly.
Stop comparing social media. Stop comparing an athlete's event to yours. Like, let it be about you and your story. At the end of the day, that's what you have.
Talking about social media, how you market your business as a wedding planner?
My business started off a person-to-person recommendation referrals. And then eventually I looked into advertisements, marketing in certain platforms. But for me, it's more of the personal connection and people knowing me and recommending me and all that.
So you've been doing wedding planning for many years already.
25 years.
Wow. How is the marketing strategy change from that time to today's, for example?
When I started, I did, again, a lot of referrals, but then I needed to do some more research. And networking is another piece to that marketing piece. How is someone going to recommend you if they don't know you, right? So networking, I did a lot of networking, as you know, a lot of networking, and it paid off. It was a lot of time investment. So not just is marketing a money investment, it's also a time investment, because you need to understand and connect. That's how I met you. Build a relationship with a photographer. build a relationship with anyone. And it doesn't mean that it's, okay, I'm going to hire you for this. No, it's understanding who you're recommending for who. And I don't force my clients to take anyone, but at least I know who I'm recommending, right? But that starts with networking.
Right.
And I feel that networking is a huge part of marketing yourself, and knowing, letting people know you, and you getting to know others. And it's shifted in so much of just select platforms, right? And again, connecting with the industry as a whole.
If I am planning, thinking of changing my career and become a wedding planner,
Yes.
what would be my steps? What would you recommend?
So the funny thing is that to be a wedding and event planner, you don't need a degree. But for me, education is key. Do yourself a favor, and if you really, really want to be a true professional, there's tons of programs, great programs, better programs than others, but getting the basic knowledge of the flow, what's expected with planning, and becoming, then the next step is knowing how to become an amazing planner, a trusted planner, and going to events, going to conferences, summits, all those things, getting a lot of education, and then also try to connect with planners to get some experience.
So, what's the difference between the wedding planner and the amazing wedding planner?
I'm an amazing
I'm sure that's why I'm asking.
but I wasn't there 25 years ago. I feel that you work yourself up to an amazing wedding planner by owning yourself, becoming your own version of who you want to be as a wedding planner, right? Not, oh, I went to that event, or I spoke to Jacqueline, I want to be just like her. No, finding your unique value, your unique credentials in being that true professional. That's
But
going to
how
make you an
would you do
amazing.
that if you just starting, you don't know? And
So how you build that is through education, going to events. That's going to make your brain cells like just formulate. Oh, I do like that. Oh, I don't like that. I do like that. So that kind of gives you that jigsaw puzzle of, oh, I check that off. No. Yes. Maybe. No. That puts a lot of different pieces together, and then you start building your unique value. And then you try it out, right? But you need to practice, you need to understand certain things as you're building your unique value.
but what if I follow you and I want to be a wedding planner? I want to be an amazing wedding planner. And I follow you and I learn from you. And I think you're absolutely amazing. I want to be like you, exactly like you.
Education. That's going to lead you to being an amazing one, because it's not just getting experience or.
But would I do exactly everything that you do?
No,
But how would I be like you?
you can't be like me. You can have aspects of me. You can, not of me, but for instance, I just shared about education, right? I can share with you some platforms on where to go, platforms that I took. It can share the same information on education that I took. I'm going to teach you not to be me. I'm going to teach you how to take the courses that I took and find out how you are going to enhance yourself.
Why is this so important? And it's in every business that yes, you get the knowledge, you become better, you try to be like somebody else, but then there is a point when you have to turn inside and
Yes.
see who you truly are and let that person
Yes.
out and become that
everywhere.
100%. Why it is so important?
It's so important to first understand that the imposter syndrome is so real. We get so, and I feel like social media is in our face a lot with that. And so it's so visual, right? When it's visual on social media, on TV, in the movies, etc., When it's so visual, it's like, oh, I want to be like that. I want to be this, or I want to be them. And it's really taking a step back and saying, okay, what do you like about that person? Oh, Jacqueline says she's amazing wedding planner. I want to be that. So what reach out to Jacqueline, and what Jacqueline's going to say is, you can be that amazing person. You have to understand what you're bringing to the plate, because that's going to make your brand unique to you.
When you reach that point in any profession, the amazing clients will find you.
Yes.
You
Yes.
attract
Yes.
amazing clients because you are amazing.
Yes. And I've had a few clients for many years now, because they just don't want to let me go, because they know,
They
oh,
see the
they
qualities.
think it, and I'm already doing it. I have become a trusted brand through all the trials and tribulations, because it was not easy. It was a struggle of being an entrepreneur as well, a struggle with life happening and life changing. So, there's just a lot of things to take into place. And sometimes I've had chats with, like one-on-one chats with people who want to become wedding planners. And I'm very open and transparent about, okay, but there's this focus also. There's your personal life. There's so much more that you have to think about and consider. And knowing that that changes as time passes.
What are distractions and how you deal with them?
I would say sometimes money is a distraction, because people are focused on, oh, I want to become rich overnight. I want to, I could do that overnight. Oh, I'm really good in organizing. So stop overthinking, because that can be one of the struggles. And take it step by step, because when you rush into it, you miss a lot in between. And so that's really, really important. Family sometimes, listening into, well, that's a hobby. That can't be a career. And for me, I just shared this with someone the other day. Like, my mom thought that my planning career was a hobby, because she comes from the old school, and, she did a lot of work back in her day. And she put me through college, and she wanted the best for me, right? So me letting go of a 9 to 5 was a no-no for her. She couldn't understand it. So, family can be a struggle and understanding, but I pursued it still. I continued, even though she couldn't understand, I had to do what was best for me.
How
And
did you find that confidence to just
it
pursue?
took me a long time, because I grew up as a shy, introverted girl.
I can't
And
believe that.
that's actually in one of my books. I was afraid of my own shadow. And look now, I speak internationally. I
You
can't even
went to
believe it.
China.
Yes, I spoke in China, Ecuador, Paraguay, Italy, so many,
Wow.
Portugal, so many places. The language of connection, of a smile, is anywhere. So how I connect here in the US, in the States, that same energy is going international, and it's the same response, because I understand who I am. I've gained my confidence, and the confidence came, I could say maybe my confidence came around close to the age of 40, because I had to find out who I was and who I wanted to be, and then own it. At 50, I was owning it. I was like, and now I can't wait to celebrate 60. It's not yet, but I can't wait to celebrate 60.
And it's so strange. And I do photography, right? I was portrait photographer, and it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
20s, completely lost. It's all about him. 30s, it's all about, if you have children, it's all about dedication to somebody, the family. You lose completely yourself. 40, you start waking up, and you start realizing there is me,
Yeah.
and I need to take care of me because I completely lost myself.
Yes.
And I think by the age of 50, you realize I am good. I found who I am now, and I am in full power, and I absolutely love myself and I'm confident. It's interesting.
Yes. Yes.
It's
And
everywhere.
yes. And everywhere, anytime. Like, it's just a process that I guess life experience. Because one of the things also, when I started my business, and these are other things, other challenges, life happening challenges, right? I was married at 28 and I wanted to have kids because that was in my DNA, right? And I found out that I couldn't, that I was struggling with infertility and I didn't even know what that was. And I'm over here planning baby showers.
Oh,
It was intense, and it was an intense 10 years as
how did you deal with that?
it was my faith. I held on to my faith and some support that I had. 'Cause I really went into a dark, dark place. And I had to, at the end of 10 years, I was like, I have to change my mindset, my perspective. I lost who I was as a woman. I made it all about becoming a mother. And so now I found who I am as a woman, and motherhood is still in my presence, but it's a different definition of motherhood. And so I embrace it now. And
It's
yeah.
interesting for me because I never had this crazy desire to have children. So for me, it was okay, maybe, maybe not. I'm
Yeah.
very comfortable without children. But again, from my culture, from my upbringing, you reach 20, you have to start thinking about children.
Yeah.
And you're not a real woman because you're not a mother.
Yes. And
This
that's
is
why I
completely
struggle.
screwed.
And that's why I struggled with my womanhood, because it was like, oh, I'm not a woman because I can't be a mother. And so there's just so
But
much
the
that goes
motherhood is
to.
just part of who you are.
Yes.
It's not the essence. It's not something that describes
Exactly.
you. Absolutely not. And that's
Exactly.
your choice. And you
Yeah.
have to be in peace with that.
Yes.
And with peace with other women choosing what's best for them.
Hmm.
So how do you feel now?
I feel amazing. Like, I feel like I know my purpose in life. I know my value, and I know my boundaries. And understanding how to say no. When no is no, then it's no. But that's not easy to
Why it's
get to.
important to do that?
Once you understand your boundaries, again, there's only 24 hours in a day, and you can't do everything for everyone. And you first have to put yourself first, and then everything else, right?
And somebody will say it's selfish.
And okay,
And
okay,
that's my point too.
and okay. Because, and my husband understands that. He appreciates me for that. He's very supporting in when I say I want to do something or whatnot. He's so supportive. But him giving me that space to be me just made it it just enhanced it even more. It's like I feel freedom because I don't have to think about anything or anyone stopping me. I understand my value, and it's not going to be second guessed. Or, no, no, don't do that because.
And I think the more you start realizing that the most important thing in life is take care of yourself first. Because once you take care of yourself first, you have so much to give.
And I will say this, I have to throw in your name in there because that session, that Boudoir session that I did with you years ago,
Oh, let's
that
go
that
there.
that was wow. I'll say that the last few minutes, that's when I like evolved, but it made me really understand my essence as a woman and embracing it.
How so?
First of all, it was like, okay, I'm taking off my clothes and this and that, and then I was like, wait a minute, no, it's change the mindset. The mind can be so powerful in making you second guess everything. And it's like, we're here because of you. This shoot is for you, even though you're going to give it to your husband, but this shoot is for you. Enjoy it. And I did. And, you know, the beginning was a little like hesitant for me and a little uncomfortable. And then after that, it was like, okay. And when I saw the outcome, I was like, oh my gosh, it was amazing, amazing.
I'm sure you were nervous.
I was in the beginning. I was frazzled, everything like that. But I recommend boudoirs to every woman. Like, it's a must to do. A must.
I think so too. I think so too. And I was involved in the wedding industry. I was starting Boudoir as a pre-wedding gift. So the girls come to me before the wedding and we do Boudoir, this beautiful, sexy pictures I'll put in an album, and this is a gift for him just a day before the wedding. Now it's becoming super popular. And then I start expanding more and try nude as well.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing what I do now,
So,
making women happy and confident
yeah.
and beautiful.
Yes. Yes.
And not making them beautiful, but making them feel their beauty inside and out and giving them confidence.
Connecting with their inner beauty to make it come out. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's actually how I started. I've done wedding photography, and then at that time I was married for like 15 years or so. And we kind of lost that spark. So I was thinking, what can I do? And then I booked a photo shoot for myself. And I experienced that. And I thought, this is the most empowering experience the woman can have. I
Yes.
would like to offer this to my clients. And that's how I
Yes.
started.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love doing that.
It's really, really an amazing that it was a long time ago that I remember it like it was yesterday. So the experience as well was good. You know, having someone who you connect with, it's good. So, yeah.
Right. And the trust, again, that we talked
Trust.
about. Absolutely.
Trust
It
comes
needs to
all
be
the
there.
time. Yes.
Tell me about your books.
I had an urge for many years to write a book for planners, right? And I'm like, I don't want to do a one-on-one book because there's so many ways that you can learn how to be a wedding and event planner. I want to write the next level book. And so I did a book that's called Becoming an Elite Event Planner. And I give highlights on kind of like what we've already spoken about, finding your unique value as a planner. It's okay to say, oh, Martha Stewart does this, or, you know, so-and-so does this. But it's finding your unique value. So I start off the book with that. Networking, other things that you need to consider and keep in mind. And because I'm Latina, of course, I wanted the book to be translated into Spanish. And because I was traveling and speaking in Latin America, a lot of people were connecting with me. So I got it translated as well. And that was really exciting. On a more personal side, two other books that they're anthologies, so they're shared chapters, you know, with other women that are so empowering. And so one is called The Breaking the Glass Ceiling. And in that book is the first time that I share my journey with infertility in hopes to at least give peace, encourage, or bring some awareness to one person or many people around the world. And then the next book I talk about, which are two bestsellers, the Breaking the Glass Ceiling and the other one, Becoming an Unstoppable Woman.
Wow.
And I talk about my journey from being a shy, introverted girl to being this person right here.
So you have to buy all of them because all of them are extremely important.
Yes, and they're all on Amazon or on my
Yeah,
website.
we'll put the link
Yes.
under the video, so make sure you check that. If I want to be a planner, let's maybe not a wedding planner, just a maybe corporate event planner as well. What are the steps?
Number one, education, taking a certified course, right? There's many that can be found online. And when I say certified, it's because since planning is not an official degree, you know, required degree, you can get a degree, you can get a certificate. When you have that, it has more value. And sometimes people say, well, you know, your clients won't know. Yeah, but you will know. And that experience and confidence, it builds your confidence.
Right.
That experience and confidence will share light when you speak to your clients, because you're learning all of that. And what you're sharing with them is part of that knowledge. And then the second thing is gaining experience, whether you're interning or collaborating with another planner. And then number three is, at the end of the day, finding out who you truly are as that event planner and really investing more in building your unique value.
And I guess interactions with other.
And that includes interaction, networking, all that stuff. Yeah, attending conferences and meetings and all that.
And number 5, buying a book.
Yes, of course. Buying my book, of course. I'm my
That's
own
a cherry on the
promoter.
top.
That is the cherry. And because everything, our conversation covered a glimpse of what's in that book. It's the essence of what you need. It's the cherry on top, really, of content that you need to understand to take your business to the next level as a planner.
You doing big corporations,
Yes.
event planning with
Yes.
how many
Ten
people?
thousands of
10,000 people.
in stadiums like the Marlin Stadium in Miami. And
I want to know about this. How stressful is to do this?
100%. But I thrive on it.
I see that.
I love logistics. I love that
So if
brain.
you have a company of 10,000 people, Jacqueline is the person.
With one particular client, I started, the first event that I did with them was 600 attendees, and every year it was just growing. And just in different states we were. Oh, but wait a minute. I never shared this part with you. I gave myself a PhD during pandemic because the year that we were reopening, which was still limited, we did it instead of one location. We did the convention in 7 cities simultaneously. It had different restrictions for each state. So one state had 150, where another state had 500 and the other state had 2,000.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a big deal.
So, really it's about understanding your client, understanding what their goals are. And it's the same process as the couple. What do you want? What is your story? And when you take that process in everything you do, even corporate, they have a story. They have an end result. So it's understanding all of that to
Would
make
you
it happen.
say it's easier to do corporate planning than wedding planner?
I would say it's a different mindset, because for weddings, there's more of an emotional attachment to
Right.
it versus corporate. This is what it is. This is what
Structure.
I want. It's more structured. Yeah. So I wouldn't say it's easier. It's more difficult. It's just
But I think like
different
20
perspective.
years in wedding industry covers all of that.
Yeah.
So you're fully prepared.
I thrive on that excitement of doing an event on like high level and tons of people. You need to have trust in yourself. You need to have the confidence in yourself and all the knowledge that you acquired. I go back to the education, all the knowledge I acquired, all the people I connected with. When I did my first corporate event, I reached out to another planner who was a corporate planner, and she gave me some pointers, and that took me a long way. And I, I was so grateful for her to be there. But how did I meet her? Through networking, through all these connections. I'm going on 7 years. I just did my 7th convention for one company, and it's just trusting the process, trusting yourself, knowing what you're good at, and knowing how to increase the value on what you're good at. And once you know that and you do it, it comes easy peasy.
How would one learn from you besides buying your book?
I offer mentoring. I actually am crafting up a program that should be live probably by July. And yeah, I'm approachable.
So is it online learning?
It'll be online, but I also do one-on-one. The one-on-ones are going to be more limited to a few people a year.
Right. And you're doing this for the wedding planners and event planners?
Yes. Yes. And
Wonderful.
event professionals if they want.
Right.
Yes.
What's the future hold?
The future holds a balance of, I'm actually in the middle of rebranding my 3 platforms that I have, the wedding and event planning and my education platform, education and mentoring and speaking. And then my third platform is the tools and resource platform for women who might be struggling with entrepreneurship, faith, or infertility. The one thing in common is that it addresses who you are as a person. So whether it's planning an event or whether it's speaking, getting knowledge from me, or whether there's a woman who can relate to a story because they're going through a journey of struggling with infertility or with entrepreneurship, right? So there's just a unique value in the connection that I bring to my clients or a woman that's looking for some tools or resources or a way to handle the emotional roller coasters that we are challenged with on a day to day.
You also have a podcast.
Oh yes, of course.
So many things to talk about.
But that is also a part of the tools and resources.
Right.
I think
But
that's why.
tell me about your
Yeah,
podcast.
Inspired by Jacqueline is my podcast, available on all streaming channels. Right.
Make sure we will put the link under the
Yes,
video
yes,
as well.
yes. I talk about 3 pillars, and I bring on special guests, like someone's going to be on my podcast pretty soon, Miss Julia. And I talk about, just conversations, just a chat, just like this, on maybe just entrepreneurship, a specific part, struggles, right? Or faith. I just launched my 34th episode, so I'm in my second season, and I'm really, really excited. Everyone that I'm connecting with, the conversations are invaluable with tips and just an understanding of that person that I'm speaking to as well. And, I feel that people listening in will take a lot away.
What are your superpowers?
My superpower is my patience.
Ooh.
My patience is number 1, and my smile. And number 3, if I had 3 options, the
You
way I
can have
make
5 options.
the way I make people feel.
And how do you make people feel?
From what I hear, they feel comfortable. They just feel like they're heard, or like I'm really intentionally there for them.
How do you know that these are your superpowers? And I would ask
From
for somebody who would listen to this and think, I don't have any superpowers.
We all have superpowers. For me, it's more of hearing it and experiencing it from others in how they speak to me, how they hug me, how they tell me physically. They say, "This is how you make me feel." And then I take a step back and I look at myself. I'm like, yeah, I do feel that. I feel like I do that. I feel like I do that. And I mean it when I do connect with the person. I love to hear their story. And I feel like that is a part of my motherhood experience as well, the nurturing part. So when I say that motherhood changed for me is a different perspective, is bringing that taking that nurturing piece and sharing it in my journey.
Is it important to know your superpowers?
Yes.
Why?
I feel that can give you more confidence. Yeah. Because when you understand that you have superpowers, you're embracing your confidence. You're making your confidence shine even more. When you don't feel like you have superpowers, you're like, ugh.
What are the tools?
First, take some time for you. Take some time to evaluate your life, your journey. Journaling can help, and then reading what you wrote. There's certain things that you write, that you experience, that you feel or even taking a step back and evaluating your life and comparing it to what others are saying what you make them feel, how you make them feel, comparing those things, that's how you can find out what your superpowers are. It's important to evaluate both parts, but also self-love and self-understanding so that you could get to the next level.
What are your self-love tools?
Self-love is spa.
Of course. Every girl's dream.
Give me a spa anytime. That is my ooh-sa moment. When I first went into a spa one time, it was like heaven because it allowed me to relax, shut my mind off. That allows me to shut it off. And I don't think about anything. Self-love for me is embracing my scars, embracing not just my physical scars, but my inner scars.
What makes you proud of being you?
Looking back at that little shy girl and saying, wow, look at all you accomplished by stepping out of that shadow. I would not have accomplished that if I kept in that shadow.
Do you have any rituals that you do, like every day, every week, every month?
Laughter every day. My husband and I, we complement each other on that specific trait. I feel that that's a trait because we laugh, not just smile, we laugh. And there's some days that is like crazy laugh, and every day is a different type of laughter, but it's laughter because it fills my energy. It fills life, that life is funny. It can be really hard, it can be really crazy, it could be really chaotic, but it's funny at the end of the day. And when I say that, I don't want to seem like, well, I lost my mother last year, and why am I saying that life is funny? Well, because life still goes on in spite of everything else that happens. And you have to enjoy every moment because every moment is precious. And for me, laughing every day is enjoying life. It's allowing myself to enjoy life.
How long you've been together?
Oof. I think that's his story because he feels like he is, in those fairy tale books, there's the princess and she finds her prince. He says it's the opposite for him. He found his princess.
Wow.
So, long story short, we grew up in the same building down the hall. But he was shy, I was shy. He went off to the service as a Marine. And, I would say life happens. He got married, I got married. And then again, life happens. We both ended up having a conversation after, our marriages went different ways. And we rediscover that, I knew that he always had a crush on me when we were younger. And that was kind of through a conversation. We always kept on being friends and we'd talk once in a blue moon. And yeah, we've been married now for 16 years.
You have a very happy marriage.
Yes. Yes.
What are the secrets?
When Daryl and I, and I'll say his name, connected, we made a promise to each other. And we already had lived experiences as, a spouse. So we went into it with promises as to what we didn't want and what we wanted. And that is a secret because when you go into it transparently and saying, I've been there, done that with this, I don't want that. I want this. And the same for him. And so we made that agreement and we understood what we wanted. And
It's the openness.
openness, transparency, all that. Really trusting in, what that person is investing in you for, right? For us, it was the love and the connection. And it was being real with one another. there's not one moment that we allow for there to be arguments. That's why laughter, that has kept us. That's our second secret. Laughter. Enjoying the good parts of each other and letting that every day end the day. Right? So even if we're tired, there's a funny, I mean, even when I was grieving, there's something funny that happens. And really knowing that there's no boundaries to, oh, you're grieving, you have to be crying all day. No, like that's not how life happens. And finding that balance in that,
But that requires constant communication, I
yeah,
assume.
yeah, communication is key for sure. Another thing is checking in with one another. How are we doing? How are you doing? And how are we doing?
How often you do that? I know some couples, which I admire, the relationship and the quality of the relationship. They have this once in a year.
No, not once in a year. It has to be more often.
More often. Okay,
Yeah.
how often?
I would say quarterly.
Quarterly.
Yeah. How are you doing?
So
Are
do
we
you
doing,
like
are we
arrange
doing good?
special day for that?
No, it's just we know when it has to be done within those 3 months. We'll stop. Sometimes we're in the living room watching TV before we turn on the TV. How are you doing? How are we doing? And then, do we need to make any adjustments?
To summarize all of that, first of all, you have to be open with the previous experiences. What do you like? What do you don't like?
Yes.
And discuss that with your partner
Yes.
and share that.
Yes, and it's not like, oh, I don't like chocolate ice cream. I like vanilla ice cream. It's more intense than that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This
Yeah.
makes me so, this makes
Yes.
me
This
this way.
frustrates me. This
Yes.
doesn't. This
And
is a no-no.
and the most important for the other person to accept that.
Jealousy is not something we have within us at all. But don't get it twisted. And when I say that,
And
is,
again, it's a
there's a
conversation.
boundaries,
You
but
set the boundaries
yeah.
yourself, right?
But jealousy has never ever been within me ever in my life. Like I don't even know how to explain that. But I've seen it in other people and I feel like it takes away a lot of your energy. And maybe that's why, because my energy has always been positive and has always been about growth and maturity and security, being secure about yourself. Now, that doesn't mean that you allow things to happen. You're just more confident in yourself to let jealousy in. I think
Right.
that takes a lot of energy.
Some would say that jealousy is necessary to spice your life. I would say it's absolutely unnecessary.
No, you can spice your life another way. Do a boudoir together. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, no. I just feel like,
But again, it's about self-confidence.
I mean, jealousy and role playing are two different things.
Right. Right. Yes.
So if you want to spice your life, you could role play, but not jealousy.
It's all about self-confidence. It's a combination of my self-confidence and discussions
Yeah.
with my partner.
Yeah.
And letting my partner know what will trick me, what are the triggers, and to set boundaries.
Yeah. Yes.
So constant discussion. And it's so interesting because we started with business and we're finishing up
personal.
with the personal, but the principle is the same.
Yes. I was just going to say that communications.
Communication,
From
openness,
clients
being
to personal.
true to yourself in business and in personal life is exactly the same.
Yeah.
Gives you the same results, the higher
Yes.
quality of business, of clients, of life, of relationship.
It's so true. That's why I know we chatted earlier and you're like, oh my gosh, you do so much. There's a commonality in between personal relationships and professional relationships and the goals. There's something common, and communications, that plays a big role
And knowing yourself.
in knowing yourself. and
And taking
owning it.
responsibility. Exactly.
Taking
Yes.
responsibility, but owning it. I
Owning
feel
it.
I'm at the best part of my life that I'm owning who I am and loving every single minute of it.
And that's exactly why Jacqueline is here, sharing all her wisdom and so much more. So much more. And all the links we're going to put under the
Yeah.
video.
And I'm
Make
so
sure you follow Jacqueline because there's so many resources she provides.
and I'm so excited just to have this conversation because I feel whenever I think about you or think of or speak to you, I just see confidence all the time. And sometimes that could be misconstrued, or sometimes that can be like a huge responsibility because you're like, oh my gosh, this person's thinking of me as completely 100% confident, not knowing what I'm going through, right? And but it's still okay
Oh,
to
absolutely.
be that. And I love our conversations because it's always about that genuineness of being yourself. And that's what I learned from you as well. So thank you.
Let's continue and let's be ourselves
Yes.
200%.
300%.
300%, 1,000%,
A
how many
thousand. I like a
percent you
thousand.
want.
Yes, yes. Just do it. Be yourself and really hone in on that, on your unique value.
Thank you.
Thank you.